Sister Wives has followed the Brown family's plural marriage since 2010. Joining husband Kody's three other wives, Meri, Christine, and Janelle, Robyn entered the picture just as the series took off. But while Robyn and Kody seem happy together, after more than 10 years together, there's still drama in the air. Here's the scoop on this unique pair. According to Soap Dirt, long before she ever met Kody Brown, Robyn was married to her first husband from 1999 to 2007, and it appears as though she decided to leave her marriage due to her ex's poor treatment of her children. But while a divorce was the best option at the time, it wasn't an easy decision for the future star.
I am a single divorced mother of three. I've been spending the last few years trying to create a safe environment for them.
Robyn wrote in the family tell-all Becoming Sister Wives, the story of an unconventional marriage. Since both my marriage and divorce were so difficult, I decided that I would take a break from relationships. I didn't need the complications of dating in my life. I knew that since I was a mother of three, my dates would be more like job interviews than romantic encounters. But she would soon meet someone who would change her life for the better. Robyn first laid eyes on the man who would become her future husband at church. And by her account, it was love at first sight. She recalled in the book, "While we were seated in the service, a man sitting in front of me with shaggy blonde hair caught my eye. The first thing I noticed about him was his eyes, which were ringed with laugh lines. There was something peaceful and comforting about the way he conducted himself. It seemed as though there was some type of immediate otherworldly connection between the two." She added, "All of a sudden, he looked up and our eyes met. I'm not exaggerating when I say I felt as though I'd been shot through with a bolt of lightning."
Kody's my soulmate. I love him.
But even though they felt that initial spark between each other, when it came to bringing another wife into the Brown family fold, everyone was part of the process. Even before Robyn joined the family, Kody's first wife Meri was perhaps the first person to suggest Kody start a relationship with Robyn. Apparently, she was almost giddy about the prospect of Robyn becoming part of their family.
I told Kody I had to go ask her to dance. And so he did, and that was all she wrote,
Kody recalled in the family tell-all, "Meri instantly sensed that there was something special about Robyn. When Meri and I got home that night, we stayed up for 2 more hours talking about Robyn." Kody explained that Meri was excited about Robyn's inclusion in the family, since she would become both a wife and, quite likely, a close friend. There was clearly something special about Robyn, and according to Kody, it was a feeling he couldn't let go of ever since the moment they met. He wrote, "I had a very deep sense that there was a spiritual connection between us. I felt an undeniable connection to this woman I had just met, as did Meri. This connection was so deep and spiritual that it kept us up all night."
I kind of melted. I don't know what happened to me. It's still happening.
Kody and Robyn had barely had a conversation by that point, but they both felt pulled toward one another. Kody also explained how he was worried that Robyn's divorce would cause drama for his tight-knit family. But despite any misgivings, the pair went for it. As a recently divorced single mother of three, Robyn was initially apprehensive about bringing her kids into another relationship. But as it turns out, a huge selling point in her bond with Kody was the fact that their families blended so well.
I loved when I first met you guys, how you guys functioned. I loved it.
While Robyn was still getting to know Kody, she was introduced to the Brown family, including all the kids and her potential future sister wives. And in that moment, Robyn knew she wanted to be a part of the connection they all shared. She wrote, "Everyone was so engaged with one another. The thing I wanted for my kids first and foremost was a good family. And here it was in front of me, a family literally overflowing with love." As smitten as Robyn was with Kody, it turned out that she was also pretty taken with his entire family, a bond that quickly became the foundation on which they established their relationship. Fans of Sister Wives know that Robyn became the fourth and likely last wife to marry Kody, and when she joined her fellow wives Meri, Christine, and Janelle, she seemingly fit right in. But before Robyn officially joined the Browns, she was wary of ever being in a plural marriage. And it was something she wrestled with at first. Explaining that most men in the fundamentalist Mormon church only have 1 or 2 wives, or maybe 3 at the most, she wrote, "I'd never even entertained the possibility of being a 4th wife. It's just too challenging."
I was married before, and we were in a polygamous culture, but we never took on another wife. We were monogamous.
When Robyn learned that Kody already had 3 wives and a very large family, she was shocked. She claimed that she surprised herself in even considering such a complex family dynamic. But she quickly came to terms with her new normal, and the already large family got even bigger. If you're wondering how Kody enjoys a plural marriage even though it's not currently legal in the United States, the Browns have cleverly joined their family within the law. For years, Kody was only legally married to Meri, while his marriages to Janelle and Christine were spiritual. But when Kody met Robyn and her 3 children, they made the decision to legally marry in order for Kody to be able to adopt her kids. Of course, that meant Kody had to end his legal marriage to Meri. While Meri was well aware of the reasoning behind the divorce, she was still feeling the pain once the divorce was finalized. She once said on the show, "If ever I'm having an emotional moment about maybe what I lost, I just think it's not about me, it's about the kids, and that's what makes me happy."
We're having to play by the rules of the world we live in,
Which are not our rules.
which are
and
not
it's
our
like,
rules.
While each of the wives appear to prioritize what's best for the family as a whole, it's clear that there will always have to be some sacrifice. Meri hardly had any time to mourn the loss of her marriage before Kody and Robyn tied the knot in a legal ceremony. And as difficult as the process was, their marriage meant that they could truly blend their families together.
What was crazy is, as they were signing the divorce papers, it hurt me.
Robyn had 3 children from her previous relationship, Brianna, Aurora, and Dayton. And as Kody adopted her 3 children, it seems as though the family couldn't have been any happier. Kody even took to Twitter to explain how excited Robyn's kids were at having Kody become their dad. He posted, "Aurora, Dayton, and Brianna thought Robyn's ex was a hero for signing consent for me to adopt."
We're officially brownies.
Along with Robyn's 3 kids, she and Kody also have children of their own. The couple welcomed their first child, Solomon, about a year after they were spiritually married in 2011. Then in 2016, they welcomed daughter Ariella.
Our religious belief is that we bring as many children to the earth as possible. That is always something that we consider.
Naturally, considering the family's religion, fans wondered whether Robyn would have any more children. But as it turns out, that isn't a likely possibility. Kody himself is father to 18 children, but beyond that responsibility, it seems like they're leaving it up to God. Robyn told Us Weekly in 2019, "At this point, we feel like we're done, but we're open to God's inspiration. When we grow our family, it's sort of by inspiration. If we were blessed with more children, of course, I'd be totally open to that." Jealousy can be especially tricky when it comes to plural marriage. The Browns admitted in their book, "We have to learn to handle our jealousy and contain our aggression." Still, fans of the show know that between all the kids and houses and jobs, it can be easy for resentment to form between the wives. And when it came to Robyn, third wife Christine was feeling the growing pains.
I'm sorry, but with Robyn coming along,
It just changes everything.
It just changes everything.
It shakes everything up.
Christine wrote, "Kody and Robyn's courtship came at a time of huge personal upheaval. I was pregnant with Truly, and we had also entered new and uncharted territory as we began filming Sister Wives for TLC.
Well, here you are replacing your family with Robyn and her kids. And I realized that it needed to happen, but it didn't necessarily make it easier.
To top it off, after Christine gave birth to her daughter, she experienced postpartum depression and admittedly felt a, quote, crippling jealousy toward Robyn. Any issues for the Brown family involve 5 different perspectives. So when Meri revealed that she was experiencing fertility issues but might still want another child, Robyn tried her best to find a solution.
It makes it 100% easier if you're having a good, close relationship with your sister wives.
Originally, Robyn offered to be a surrogate in order for Meri to have a second child. But when Meri was torn over the decision, Kody made it for her, and he definitely wasn't interested in Robyn's offer. He said on the show, "I would do it if nature just did it. In fact, it would just be absolutely wonderful. But because of the stakes, I'm not burning in my gut to do it. You know what I'm saying? I say no."
I always wanted to have a big family. I always figured I'd have lots of kids. I guess I do. I just kind of went about it a little bit different.
Now in her 50s, Meri remains the proud mama to her daughter Mariah. As fans of the show well know, the Brown family's housing situation has been a dramatic theme for years, pitting the wives against each other and creating tension between Kody and Robyn, as the family struggled to find a living arrangement in which they could all be happy. On an early 2020 episode of Sister Wives, the Brown family was once again stressing about housing issues, with Robyn and Kody butting heads. Robyn didn't want to buy a home, but instead rent one so they could save money and move to the family's developing property sooner. But Kody wanted to buy a house for her and her kids. Robyn said on the show, "This whole situation that we're in right now, with moving out of the house and where we go next, has been a major issue for Kody and I. We have been at odds for months, and there's no resolution in sight, and it's really been wearing on us."
Never have I ever heard of a husband who has plural wives, who has a plural family, ever having his own home.
As it stands, the family appears to be settled in temporary housing as they build a family compound on their 20-acre lot in Arizona. For families all over the world, the coronavirus pandemic put a damper on gatherings and celebrations in 2020. For a large, tight-knit family like the Browns, it was a dramatic shakeup, and it appeared as though Kody wasn't exactly hopping between homes during the quarantine.
We're really acting like four separate families.
As The Sun reported, fans suspected that Kody quarantined for the majority of the lockdown with Robyn. The outlet reported that Kody hadn't been seen with Meri more than once, and with Christine just twice. Kody and Christine's daughter Mykelti answered fan questions about how her family had been handling quarantine, explaining in a Q&A that her dad had been trying to see all the different wives and children, even if he was mainly spending his time with Robyn. She said, "He does still travel to them, he still sees everyone. He is having a hard time because he's in different houses." Just like jealousy issues are to be expected in a plural marriage, so too are concerns over playing favorites. Children typically don't like it when their parents appear to favor their sibling, and multiple wives probably wouldn't appreciate their husband doing the same. But as it turns out, Kody's relationship with Robyn might be a little closer than his bond with his other wives, and she allegedly appears to be his favorite. At least, that is according to legions of loyal viewers.
You just wonder when he's, going to give you the attention that he's given to her.
As The Sun noted, fans have long thought that Robyn was Kody's favorite wife on Sister Wives, maybe even since the very beginning. After all, she's the youngest and is currently legally married to Kody, and probably will stay that way for life. There's also the fact that Robyn is the mother to two of Kody's youngest children. According to fans, it just made sense. One user posted to Twitter, "Robyn is totally the favorite wife on Sister Wives. At the end of the day, it is pushed once again in Janelle's face that Kody's favorite is Robyn."
I never know if it was these other things that were going on or if it was me.
While we may never know the true story on which wife is the favorite, or whether Meri, Christine, Janelle, and Robyn are truly equal in Kody's eyes, we'll keep tuning in to see what's next for the Browns. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite reality stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.